Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty and the Frizz. My name is Cara. Whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me for another one today. Today I am going to be sharing my priority brands for 2023. This was a video that my friend Jamie did about a month or so ago, so I'm going to link her video in the description box. Definitely check her out if you want to see which brands I am checking for this year. Keep on watching this video. Let me know what you think, and if makeup is your therapy and your love, if it makes you happy and you want to hang out with someone that feels the same way, definitely consider joining the community. I'd love to have you back. All right, let's get started. So first of all, as you know, we're doing this video, one thing that I'd like to share is that I have really let go of this idea of loyalty to any makeup brand. That is really tough. It's been tough, but I think I'm in a really good place. So with any of these brands, I'm not saying everything they come out with I'm getting. I am not saying that this list can't change or fluctuate, but these are just some brands that are on my radar. And when Jamie did this video, it was like she called it Club Jamila, like who was VIP, who's general admission. So I'm gonna kind of do this in the same style. Now, I don't really go out a lot. So when I'm thinking about my brands and having a good time, when I go out, I want to go to a place where it is guaranteed that I'm going to have a good time pretty much every time. I'm too old to be going somewhere and it's just going to be an okay time. So never mind whatever I was about to say, forget it. All right, so let's get started. I have 5 brands that I feel like are on like my top list, and then I kind of have my second tier down. And I think we're only going to talk about maybe 9 or 10 brands. Let's get started. The first brand is gonna come as no surprise. It's Sydney Grace. I'm wearing her right now, okay? Because Sydney Grace is that place that, and I like happy hour, you know what I mean? So it's like that. I know I can go, I can get my buffalo wings or whatever else I want, and it's just gonna be good every single time. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to wear a certain thing. I just know it's going to be good. I can come as I am, and it is just going to be my trusty spot. That's how I feel about Sydney Grace. Everything that they come out with. And I don't have every single thing by the brand. I don't have every single palette, but everything that I have has been a hit. So I'm always looking out to see what is Sydney Grace doing. Right now, what's really grabbed me are the monthly bundles. They just had a sale, and the sale is probably over by now because I don't know when this video is going up, but I almost bought the Be Mine palette, and I was like, Cara, you didn't really want that palette last year. I didn't get anything yet, but I do have a cart, and I was gonna put that palette in there. I took it out. Sydney Grace is hands down one of the brands I am really checking for this year. I just have no regrets of anything that I've purchased from the brand. So that's number 1. Number 2 has got to be Tasha. Tasha can come out with some color stories that I'm not a fan of, but I love Natasha Denona's eyeshadows. They are great. And most often, I like her color stories as well. Now, her last 2 eyeshadow releases, so I don't know what happened to the Love face palette. I remember saying, I'm getting that, I really want that. But after seeing some reviews on it, I realized that owning the Love palette is enough for me. The blush is okay and the highlight is okay, but I could just skip that. Retro Glam, I'm probably gonna end up just switching those shadows around to make other color stories. So that's not really a regret. I kind of thought it was, but now I'm into like building my own palettes. So those shades will come in handy. As a color story itself though, no. The Sydney Grace Retro Glam bundle that Mel Thompson created, hands down, is way better than the Retro Glam palette. I do get excited for Natasha Denona's releases, and I'm excited to see what she's gonna do this year. And you know, like when she does the lipsticks and stuff like that, those are not my favorite things, but when it comes to eyeshadow, I'm always looking and excited. And her shadows to me are another like trusty formula. It's just something that I don't really have any misses with, you know. Her mattes are really good, the shimmers are nice, The cream to powders I've come to enjoy. So I'm looking out for Tasha. Yes, I am. Newcomer to the game that I'm looking out for this year is Lethal Cosmetics. I got the Metamorphosis palette and the Evergreen palette. That was my second order from Lethal. I had the Night Flower palette and I really liked it. But I think with the purple bluey color story, it just didn't call me back to use it a whole lot or again. But these two palettes, when they came out, those really threw a curveball for me because I really wasn't checking for Lethal like that, and now I am. I have now created 3 palettes in their palette designer. They came out with a charity collection, like these little quads. Those were really cute. I didn't get those, but I did design a couple of palettes. And the first one that I designed, I am working on that video. I have used that palette more than anything that I've used this year. And I just love how you can just take them out, move them around, put them back. I do need to label those palettes, but I cannot wait to switch them around and play with them more and make more color stories. I'm really, really excited about that. Next, I would have to say Odin's Eye. Now, Odin's Eye started out the year releasing singles. I was kind of excited to see that release from them, but I knew that wasn't something that I needed. I had recently purchased from Tara Moons and Cleona at the end of 2022. So I was like, I really do not need to get these Odin's Eye singles. However, I would be interested in trying them maybe for Black Friday or if they have some type of sale. Now, recently they revealed their Perfect World collection, and I'm sure I have ordered that. I was really on the fence about getting all 3 palettes, but I have decided to get 2, Laura Mae Beauty's palette and then Makeup Just for Fun's palette. So that's like the blue Sea Talk one and the Flora palette. I don't think I would wear the Spirit palette too much. That was with Betty Jean here on YouTube. So I'm just trying to like really keep in perspective what I'm really gonna wear. But regardless if it's a story I like or I don't like, I'm always checking out to see what Odin's Eye is going to be releasing. I really loved the Christmas palettes that they came out with. So they're an exciting brand to watch. And I really enjoy seeing the vision and what they come out with, even if it's not something I'm always going to grab. Number 5, I would have to give to Tara Moons. Tara Moons has some of the most beautiful eyeshadow singles that I own. And they're able to just make them so smooth and creamy. Their mattes aren't always my favorite, but I really love their shimmers and their duochromes and multi-chromes. I just think they're really beautiful, especially like the gray-based ones. They're just my favorite. They're so special, and I really enjoy them. They did come out with the Cosmic Wanderer palette last year, and I was really excited for that reveal, but it just wasn't my color story, but I'm sure it performed beautifully. I'm sure it did. And they do have a collab palette coming soon, and I'm new to that collaborator. I cannot remember her name, but she's somebody that I'm following now. So really excited to see what Tara Moons is gonna do this year. I was gonna move to the next tier, but actually I'm gonna move Adept up to my top tier. Mystery box aside, 99% I like what I get from Adept. I really like their shimmer formula in all of their palettes except the Minka palette. My concern with Adept is that they're gonna continue to make shimmers like that, and that's gonna change whether or not I would purchase a palette. I could do 1 or 2 of those Minka shimmers, but the ones in that Minka palette, it's just too much. They're all those thick, glittery shimmers, and they're just so thick. And I mean, I like the high shine, but I really don't like that formula. So that would really make or break what I purchase from Adept. And I don't see myself reaching for that Minka palette because there's so many other palettes that I have that I like a lot more than Minka. But everything that I've gotten, for the most part, except that one, I love. And I really love the face palettes. I have 2 of them. I think they're great. if she just does everything like House of L, we are gonna be good to go. So I know she already sneak peeked a mermaid palette. Looks like it's all shimmers and it's in that arrow format. So I'm really excited to see what that's gonna look like. And I do have the arrow palette, but I've not even touched it yet. That's the next video I need to really work on. So really excited to see what Adept is gonna do. I'll have to stay away from the mystery boxes, all mystery boxes, because that was a total fail. But aside from that, I love my Adept palettes. I do, except makeup. All right, now let's go to my next tier. It's only 2 tiers. Now, all these brands are awesome brands. So there's no bad brands on the list. So this is, you know, all in fun. But next tier for real. Mama Pat has to be in the 2nd tier. First of all, who doesn't get excited when they see Pat McGrath teasing something? When you see the sequins and then like right before the reveal, it just kind of cuts off. Or when she posts her inspo on Instagram and then it's hashtag coming soon. Who does not get excited by that? I'm gonna continue to get excited by that. But I think that the reveals, I've felt let down too many times that Pat McGrath can't be in my top tier, because every single time I have these high expectations and then when I see the reveal, I'm just like, and I remember feeling like that with Utopian Dream. I remember feeling like that with Moonlit Seduction, with this recent Love collection, you know. I mean, the reveals are amazing and the presentation is phenomenal. It is. I just think that I am having a lot of repeats from Pat McGrath in my collection. It just makes me not as excited, I would say, when I see the releases, you know. Now, she did the Star Wars thing, and then, you know, Midnight Sun was a re-promote. And then she had a quad there, or a quint, the golden one, which really looks like one of the ones that she has in the Love collection. I mean, and I saw somebody swatch them side by side, and I'm like, these are really almost the same. So I feel like with Pat McGrath this year, I'm gonna have to be extremely choosy. And it's actually not that hard anymore, which is sad, because there was a time where I was proudly saying, like, I am a collector of Pat McGrath. And now I'm at the point where I've actually decluttered some Pat McGrath. So I can just feel how my relationship with her brand is changing. Now, Pat McGrath is amazing, okay? Her products are amazing. Her eyeshadows are beautiful. It's just that I have so much of her products that I'm not gonna need all the new stuff coming out, especially when she is sticking within the same color story very often. So that's how I'm feeling about Pat McGrath in 2023. I also have to put Notoriously Morbid in this tier as well. Now, as you know, I really do like Notoriously Morbid a lot. They are one of the most creative brands that I have tried. If I wasn't on their PR list, I cannot say I would have bought every single palette that I have. And that's just being honest. None of the palettes are bad. It's really based on the color story. I am thankful that I am getting the palettes and that I'm able to showcase them in case anyone's interested, because I don't really see anybody using their palettes on YouTube. I have not come across anyone, so I'm glad that I'm able to do that. I'm always looking to see what they're gonna come out with. The Loki palette was great. Boohoo was great. Summertime Sadness, great palette. So I am definitely looking forward to seeing what Notoriously Morbid is gonna do in 2023. So let's talk about Nomad. So I am on Nomad Cosmetics PR list, and I'm always thankful that they send me the palettes to just showcase. The thing with Nomad is that I find some inconsistencies with their shimmers. The mattes are always great, but the shimmers vary. In some palettes, they're more toppers. In some palettes, they are really hard pressed. In some palettes, they're really opaque and beautiful. And that sometimes makes it hit or miss for me, as well as the color stories. Overall, really curious to see what they're gonna do this year. But I think it was more exciting when they had less releases, and now that they seem to be releasing more, I don't know if that excitement is hitting the same way as it used to for me. because they came out with a lot last year in my mind. We'll have to see what they're gonna do this year. All right, I have 2 more brands to talk about. Let's talk about Melt Cosmetics. So Melt, I just am rooting for Melt so much, you know? That was one of the first brands that I kind of discovered. I just felt like they were so grungy and so edgy, and the color stories were just so unique, you know? But Melt's eyeshadow formula for their shimmers, again, the shimmers, is really hit or miss. And sometimes you have hits and misses within the same palette, which can be frustrating. And I did a whole video of me taking out shades that I didn't like because I liked the palette, I just didn't like certain shades, and then I would replace the shades within the palette. I don't wanna really have to do that. I did it because I have these palettes and I don't want to get rid of them, but it makes me very leery about their releases at times because you just don't know what you're gonna get. And I don't want to be guessing. I always look forward, you know, the past couple of years to seeing the holiday releases. And, you know, I've talked about the Amore Mary Posters release several times and how that kind of flopped. And last year for 2022, I guess they were just like, well, whatever, like we're not putting as much effort into this year's release. And I get it. But the Zodiac eyeshadow palettes, I just was like, what happened to that creative flow that they have? You know, it just almost made me feel like they're just gonna put out whatever, you know? So I'm really hoping to see Melt get that creativity back, those color stories, and just the vibe that they had when I first got into makeup in 2019. I'm hoping that they get that back, and I'm hoping that they find a way to make their shimmers consistent, because the ones in the Amore Mary Posters palette were beautiful. The ones in Rust in 27 were gorgeous, very beautiful shimmers. So I really am rooting for Melt, as I said, and I am curious to see what they're gonna do. Right now, it hasn't been anything exciting. I think they've done like some brow stuff. I'm not saying they need to put anything out now, but when they do, I'm hoping it's gonna be something awesome. And the last brand that I have to mention is Kaleidos. Kaleidos is a brand that I didn't really purchase from in 2022. I think if I did, it was the lip clays, maybe. That might have been 2021. I honestly can't remember. Last year, Kaleidos came out with 2 neutral quads, which I feel like the brand was due for that because they didn't have anything neutral that was out. And then they came out with 2 more quads toward the end of the year. They were kind of purpley, and I didn't get those. So curious to see what they're gonna do. They usually come out with a big palette each year, and we didn't get that. So I would love to know what they are going to do in 2023. I don't need any more highlighters or lip clays. I don't need the contour stuff that they came out with. I was kind of interested in those duochrome like eyeliner sticks or eye sticks that they had. Those were really interesting, but I didn't purchase any of those. We shall see what Kaleidos is going to do. I am always excited to see their releases. Their packaging is great. Their like release teasers are also really nice. So yeah, they're on my list as well. Now I know there's lots of brands I could talk about, and just because I didn't mention a brand doesn't mean I wouldn't purchase anything from that brand. But these are the brands that when I sat down to make this list that I really thought about. So I'm excited. Ooh, you know what brand I have to put on here though? I was gonna put Dior on here, but I mostly get their lip products. I don't know. Dior is like general admission maybe. You know what? I'm not gonna put them on the list because I have enough of the lip products anyway. So that's it, y'all. I just thought this video would be fun to do. Let me know what brands you're looking forward to seeing releases from. And remember, we don't have loyalty to anyone. So we can look forward to seeing releases and we can check for brands and not buy from them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what Purchase or Pass is all about. So we can check and not buy. So who's on your radar? Who are you looking for? Who do you enjoy seeing releases from and launches from? Let me know in the comments below. And that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for taking out some of your time and hanging out with me for another one. I hope this was therapy for you. It always is for me. And until I see you again, make sure you're being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice, stay safe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.